So we just got some massive news when it comes to the new Fallout TV show by Prime Video and Kilter Films. It's just been renewed for a second season. I'm so bloody excited. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you absolutely everything that you need to know about Fallout Season 2. And we're also going to do some speculation as to the kinds of things that we might see in the second season, especially of course when it comes to the storyline and the characters and the settings and all that good stuff. So if you enjoy this video and want to see more Fallout content from me, please like, subscribe if you're new, with notifications if that's possible. But let's get into the news. I think a lot of us suspected that Fallout would be renewed for a second season because one, it's been so bloody popular, but two, the feedback and the reception has been so positive, incredibly positive. Across the board, it's been met with rave reviews. But back to the popularity, it's also not just popular on Prime Video itself. When you compare it to other TV shows and other streaming services, it's been literally the most popular TV show pretty much since it launched, which is just insane. I don't think any of us suspected how positive and how popular it would really be. And also as well, the production company in Prime Video has been offered a $25 million tax credit to relocate filming from New York State to California for Season 2. Now, obviously, filming in California is quite fitting for the show, but if they want to take advantage of this huge tax credit, they're going to actually need to make Season 2. If they don't get to use the tax credit. So because of that, because of the popularity and the positivity, a lot of us suspected that, yeah, a Season 2 is inevitable. And finally, today, at the time of this recording, they announced it. In the description below, you can find the press release to that effect, but it is titled, Fallout has a blast of a debut, Amazon MGM Studios and Kilter Films hit series to return for Season 2. And this is what they had to say. Following the show's phenomenal debut, Prime Video announced today that it has renewed its latest hit series Fallout for a second season. The series comes from Kilter Films and executive producers Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy. Nolan directed the first 3 episodes. Geneva Robertson Dorette and Graham Wagner served as executive producers, creators, and co-showrunners. In its first 4 days, the high-octane fueled series has become a hit with its global audience, ranking among the service's top 3 most watched titles ever in its first 4 days. That is insane. And the most watched season globally since Rings of Power. The debut season of Fallout premiered exclusively on Prime Video on Wednesday, April 10, in more than 240 countries and territories worldwide. Now, a number of different people involved with the show made statements in this press release, but I just want to focus on Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy of Kilter Films, and of course, the man himself, Todd Howard. So this is what Kilter Films had to say. Quote, praise be to our insanely brilliant showrunners, Geneva and Graham, to our kick-ass cast, to Todd and James and all the legends at Bethesda, and to Jen, Vernon, and the amazing team at Amazon for their incredible support of this show. We can't wait to blow up the world all over again. We can't bloody wait either. And then, of course, Todd Howard said the following. Quote, it's been one of the most spectacular projects we've ever been a part of. Jonah and team did such an incredible job, and we're overjoyed not just by the reaction to the show, but that we get to work with these amazing people even more. So this is obviously incredibly exciting news. For anybody that was a fan of Season 1, even if it was just a little bit, it's really exciting to see it approved for a second season. Yes, a lot of us suspected it, but to get that official confirmation means something. It's a little bit different. I'm at peace now knowing that we're going to be getting more episodes of this series. I think they absolutely nailed it. We know how difficult video game adaptations can be, right? It's a pretty tricky medium to take over to the big screen, to movies and to TV shows. But especially Fallout. Fallout is so bloody unique in its tone and its lore and its comedy and its violence. They always had this almost seemingly insurmountable task when it came to trying to adapt this series to a TV show. But in the midst of all of that, and when it comes to the expectations of Fallout fans, you know how protective we are of the franchise, and especially the lore. But in the midst of all of that, they still managed to produce this thing which most people seem to really, really love. And I think that is a huge credit to them and the amount of effort that they put into the series. So I'm so bloody excited to see a second season. I cannot wait to see the storyline develop. But in terms of when we might see it and the plot and the setting and the different locations we might see and all that kind of stuff, we don't know all that much. They didn't even talk about a date. We don't know when it might start filming again. We don't know when it's going to be released or anything like that. So what we need to do now is to speculate heavily. And this is where I'm going to give you a spoiler warning. If you have not finished the show, please go away. binge it, enjoy it, and then come back to this video and speculate alongside with all of us, because we need to talk about what we might see in season 2 of the show. So if you've gone now, if you haven't watched the show, please do. But if you're staying, you have watched the last episode, you know what I'm going to be talking about. So let's get right into it. We need to know what the hell happened in New Vegas. What the hell was that ending sequence? To see the strip in all sorts like that, it hurt a little bit because we left New Vegas and everything was fine, right? To see it like that, I just need to know what happened. I need to know if it's true that everyone is actually dead, and it seems like, they are. But what the hell happened? Why isn't the strip like it used to be back in New Vegas? Where the bloody hell's Mr. House? Like, could he not protect the thing? I just need to know, and I need to know why Hank McClane as well is now going there. Like, who is he trying to seek out? Is he trying to seek out someone from Vault-Tec, or maybe the Enclave, or maybe he's going to talk to Robert House, because we know that they probably interacted at some stage. Like, Robert House was at Vault-Tec talking with the rest of them, and maybe Hank knows that Robert House is there, and he's going to go off and talk to him. That would be so bloody cool. I just need to know. I think we all need to know what happened to New Vegas. And yes, for sure, it's going to be set in New Vegas, at least partly, when it comes to season 2. I think that is undeniable. In an interview with The Wrap as well, so Jonathan Nolan revealed that he's been thrilled to, of course, tell an original story in the Fallout universe, but he did say there is one locale in particular that is close to his heart that he'd be really excited to explore if he got the chance to. Now, a lot of people are suspecting that he means New Vegas in this regard, but I think New Vegas is the obvious answer. And also as well, we haven't heard or seen Jonathan Nolan talk about playing New Vegas at all publicly. I don't know if he actually has. He might have, but he might not have. But what is clear is that he actually loves Fallout 3 more than anything. So I think he might be talking about something Fallout 3 related in that sentence. Not to say that we aren't going to be visiting New Vegas. Of course it's going to happen. That is definitely obvious. But when it comes to what is close to his heart, it might be a setting or a location that's a little bit more related to Fallout 3. So let's see what happens in that regard. But for sure, we need to know what happened to New Vegas. But also as well, we need to know exactly what happened to Shady Sands. This has been a really big talking point because of that bloody blackboard in the show. I think it was episode 6. We need to know what actually happened with Shady Sands. Now, in an interview with IGN, Todd has provided some clarification when it comes to Shady Sands and when exactly things happened when it was nuked and all that kind of stuff. So this is what he had to say. So Graham and Geneva wanted to blow up Shady Sands. It wasn't Todd's idea, it was actually their idea. The first time they bring that up, you're like, what do you want to do? I had actually an emotional reaction to it given the history of that location in the franchise from Fallout 1, and we talked through it, and it was, quote, "This will be a pretty impactful story moment that a lot of things anchor on. And just so people hear it, we're careful about the timeline. There might be a little bit of confusion at some places, but everything that happened in the previous games, including New Vegas, happened. We're very careful about that." And so when they brought that up, threading the needle to make sure that that was a moment that landed in the show that also moved things forward in terms of what's going to be happening in the world of Fallout. That was a big one that we talked about. And then he confirms for sure the bomb falls just after the events of New Vegas. That's when Shady Sands blows. And then after that, he confirmed that the fall of Shady Sands doesn't necessarily mean the nuke. The nuke followed after that. So there was some sort of event that in the lore of this series now and the show, there was some sort of event that was referred to as the fall of Shady Sands, and then a separate event in the nuke happened after that. So we need to know what the hell was the fall of Shady Sands and what happened preceding the events of the nuke actually happening. And also as well, where the hell did Hank get a nuke from? We know that Hank was the one responsible for nuking Shady Sands. Where did he get it from? Was it a Vault-Tec nuke? Did he find an Enclave facility that still had a nuke? We need to have those questions answered. Shady Sands is too important of a location for those questions to be left unanswered. So for sure, Season 2 needs to address that. But it is really good to see Todd Howard say, hey, New Vegas is canon. Yes, the blackboard was a little bit unclear, but the fall of Shady Sands and the nuke was definitely different. But I would also like to know exactly when the nuke happened, just so it's kind of cemented in the lore. Give us a year that it is after New Vegas, but give us a year, and I think a lot of us will be happy with that. So for sure, we need to know that. But also when it comes to characters, I personally want to know, even though she's dead now, I do want to know what happened with Lee Moldova, and also like how she was around in the series, in the show. She was a pre-war character, and we never got told, never got any, official confirmation that she was also in Vault 31 and that she was frozen. In all likelihood, she probably figured out some sort of way to freeze herself so she could be in the show and be there after the Great War, all well and good. So hopefully we get to find that out as well. But also what I really want, and this is what I love about the show, they did this so well, and it's something that we've never really gotten in the games, that extensively at least. I want some more pre-war storytelling. Please tell me everything that I need to know about Vault-Tec. I want to know why Barb didn't have her daughter, and maybe even Cooper to a little bit, but especially her daughter. Why wasn't she closer to a Vault-Tec vault when the bombs went off? If they are going forward with this storyline of potentially Vault-Tec are the ones being responsible for the Great War, they dropped the nukes first, and then after that, the US and China followed. If that's the storyline they're going with, then why didn't Barb know? Or if she did, why wasn't her daughter closer to a vault so she could be protected? I think we absolutely need to know that. But also as well, I do believe the story and the series leaves it up to interpretation. I don't think they're absolutely saying the Vault-Tec were the ones that did it. I think they're saying that they had the idea and they're still leaving it a little bit up in the air for us to speculate. But also as well, maybe they did do it, but internally there was a very closed secret group at Vault-Tec and they didn't tell some people like Barb exactly when it was going to happen, so they couldn't prepare for whatever reason. I think all of that would be really great to clear up, but also maybe not. Like, maybe it's nice for us to be able to speculate moving forward about it. Just give us some plot points here and there. You don't have to necessarily confirm it was definitely Vault-Tec that dropped the first nuke, even though some people would argue that that's heavily implied. We don't need to know that necessarily, but I do want to know why Barb didn't have her daughter closer to a vault. So that is important as well. Plus, to a lesser extent, I do want to see Vault 33's storyline with the broken water chip and the prisoners and whatnot. I want to see that develop a little bit. I want to know what happened with Norm. Seemingly, he is stuck in Vault 31, and that is it. But clearly, he's going to get out. Or maybe not. Maybe he just goes into a cryogenic chamber, and then he wakes up later. That could be interesting. Maybe he'll come back later in a later game. Maybe he'll come back in Fallout 5. He'll be this character that's like, hey, I came out of this cryogenic chamber. You won't believe what happened in these 3 vaults. That could be pretty cool. But also importantly, we need to know what the hell has happened with Elder Cleric Quintus and seemingly going rogue. He had that conversation with Maximus saying, hey, I'm pretty much going to defy the other Brotherhood of Steel chapter, the one in the Commonwealth. They gave us these orders in the first place. I want to build something new. And now that he has the cold fission technology, what the hell is going to happen, right? Is this going to create some sort of big civil war between that chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel and also Elder Maxon's chapter all the way back in the Commonwealth? Are they going to get the Prydwen to come back with all these bloody reinforcements? And is there going to be some sort of giant war for them to fight out and figure out who's going to keep this new technology that is just unlimited power? I think that is absolutely where we're going. We need to see Elder Arthur Maxon in the series. He is there's no way that he's dead. There's no way that he's dead. He was only 20 years old in Fallout 4, so absolutely, if he wasn't killed by a Deathclaw or something like that, absolutely, he should be alive by the time the show comes around. We need to see Elder Arthur Maxon, and we need to know how the East Coast Brotherhood of Steel is going to retaliate to Elder Cleric Quintus in this chapter, essentially, if this is what they're doing, essentially defying their orders and going against that chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel. So absolutely, we need to know what they're doing there. And also as well, I want to see more of the Enclave, right? Like, what was the Enclave doing at that scientific facility? We know, of course, that they were behaviorally breeding these dogs, and they were obviously doing something with super mutants. We saw a super mutant on a gurney underneath the blanket. But what else were they doing there? And also, where else are the Enclave? They're obviously not as big as they used to be, but I just want to know, like, where else they fit into the West Coast. Don't just let them go away entirely. I really hope that they are involved more in the second season, because we didn't really see too much of them in season 1. And plus as well, I just want to see more things from the games. I want to see more enemies. I want to see a bloody live super mutant. I want to see Deathclaws. I want to see Securitrons and working Assaultrons. We saw that one that was kind of like dead in the ground, but I want to see a working Assaultron. I want to see all these proper bloody energy weapons. We saw a laser rifle at one stage, but I want to see people holding giant freaking Gatling lasers and plasma rifles and more vaults I want to see as well. We really need to see more of these inclusions from the Fallout franchise, and they have talked about that. So in the final episode, we know that we saw a Deathclaw skull. So in all likelihood in Season 2, we're probably going to see a Deathclaw at the very least. And one of the co-showrunners, Graham Wagner, has talked about this. In an interview with The Wrap, he said the following, quote, "We wanted to get Deathclaws, but we didn't want to just throw it away. It's such a monumental piece. We want to save something for Season 2 to be able to do it properly, not just added onto the massive world building we had to already do in Season 1. So Season 2, we are very excited to finally tackle one of the most iconic elements of the games." And also as well, Geneva Robertson Dorette said that they didn't just want to take a kitchen sink approach when it came to Season 1 and just bloody include everything from the games, right? So she says, quote, "There's all the greatest hit things, like the most obvious things that people who aren't even gamers know about Fallout, like Nuka, Deathclaws, whatever. These are the things that are just so prevalent, and we were tempted to do all of them in Season 1. But on the other hand, we didn't want to see the show to seem like it was written by people who just spent 10 seconds reading the Wikipedia page for Fallout and didn't bother to bring in some deeper cuts. So it was important to us to also bring deeper cuts into Season 1. Hopefully that won't piss off fans because we didn't get to every last thing, but hopefully they will bear with us and pray with us that we get a second season to bring these things to the screen." So we're obviously now getting a second season. That statement was made before the announcement of the second season. But we need to see Deathclaws. That would be a really cool monumental piece. But I really appreciate what they are saying about not wanting to include absolutely everything in Season 1. They did need to really focus on world building, even though a lot of us know about Fallout. Of course, we're huge fans. But a lot of new eyeballs on this series have no idea about Fallout. They have no idea about the pre-war, about Vault-Tec, about the Great War, and all this kind of stuff. So they needed to focus on that a lot, especially in the earlier episodes. So I can understand why maybe they didn't necessarily have the time to include all these bloody things from the games. And those are big monumental moments that will really help a future season like Season 2. Being able to see a Deathclaw for the first time and New Vegas for the first time. These are really cool big set pieces that are really going to help Season 2. So I can understand why they didn't just want to include all of those in Season 1. They need to pace things. They need to pace things for the storytelling to feel natural and organic. But I'm just loving what I'm hearing, even though we don't know much about Season 2. I'm loving that there's a Season 2. I'm loving what they're saying about including Deathclaws and potentially other things from the game. So, Wastelanders, let me know what you think in the comments below about Fallout Season 2, and also what I was speculating about when it comes to things we might see in Season 2. And also, what do you want to see in Season 2? Let me know in the comments, and until next time, this has been the Lone Vault Wanderer. Please take care of yourselves, and would you kindly keep fighting the good fight.